It's a lot of things happening right now.
It's a lot going on this morning.
Long night.
What's going on with in the news, Rebecca?
So yes, let's get into the news, you guys. So Stacey Abrams is nominated for look. Y'all better look. The church folks. See? Judgy.
Nobel Prize. Bust it. Nobel Prize. Bust it to the flow.
Listen,
we twerking off of everything today.
Stacey Abrams has been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. According to Reuters, Stacey Abrams has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize by Lars Haltbrekken, a Socialist Party member of Norway's parliament. Abrams is being nominated due to her work registering thousands of Georgia voters. Lars Haltbrekken had this to say about her nomination. Quote, Abrams' work follows in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s footsteps in the fight for equality before the law and for civil rights. Abrams' efforts to complete King's work are crucial if the United States of America shall succeed in its efforts to create fraternity between all its peoples and a peaceful and just society, Haltbrekken said. So, listen. I definitely want to celebrate Stacey Abrams for getting the work done, doing what she's been doing, handling business, as one of the people that have gotten Georgia to where it is. She's a Black woman who deserves all of what she's getting right now. I know there are other people in the list. I know one of our producers were telling me this morning that Jared Kushner's on there. Who gives a damn? If we are going to see any Black person in any space, we're going to be rooting for that Black person, especially if we know they've done the work, especially when we know they're powerful and they're not looking for any clout. She really is somebody who wants to do the work and has definitely shown in the change that's happened within Georgia. So
I like it. I mean, it's a nomination, right? I think they said Jared Kushner was nominated as well, right? I mean,
Donald Trump's nominated.
That's fine. Donald Trump was nominated. He's been nominated twice. Looking at the people who nominated Donald Trump and the reasons they nominated Donald Trump, there's a substantive difference between the reason that Stacey Abrams was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Right. I believe Black Lives Matter was also nominated. And if they weren't, I think I have a tweet maybe 5 years ago saying that Black Lives Matter needed to win the Nobel Peace Prize because of the moment and the movement. So to that end, even though these other people are nominated, I still salute Stacey Abrams and all. I'm cheering for everybody Black that's doing something good.
Yeah.
It's weird this year.
You said it's weird?
The entire nomination, all of these people being nominated for weird shit. Stuff. So, I almost, as much as I hate Donald Trump and the idea of Donald Trump getting a Nobel Peace Prize because of all of the other stuff he's did domestically, and his anti-science stance, the reason he was nominated actually is a valid reason. You know what I'm saying? So,
why was he nominated, bro?
He's the first president not to start a war. He's the first American president not to start a war, continued thousands of killing by military force. And that's a real thing. So
he did just continue all of it.
He didn't kill as many people by drones that Obama did, right?
I don't think that's...
And Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize. Obama was the killingest drone president in the history of this country. And he got a Nobel Peace Prize. But for me, I think that this Donald Trump is still responsible for more than 400,000 people dead in this country. No longer. And who else know how many other? So I'm not saying he should win a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm not saying he should win any prize other than death. I'm saying, or prison. But I am saying it's been a weird year for Nobel Peace Prize nominations, especially when you see Val Kilmer's son and Jared Kushner being nominated, and we finding out that Trump belongs to Russia, and he has for 40 years. They've been preparing him for this moment, and it's pretty scary to know who else have they been preparing for 40 years, and what if they're more capable than Donald Trump?
Yeah.
If I may, congratulations, Stacey. I spoke to her. It's bigger than Star Trek.
Because Marcus know people.
I mean, I don't know people. I was a deputy campaign manager, so she endorsed my campaign for when I ran for state house. I'm proud of her. I also just need to recognize that there's a movement to register voters in the state of Georgia. Mm-hmm. It was just a movement. Stacey was a figurehead in that movement, but there was just a movement to register Black voters in the state of Georgia. Man, I could think about my brother Alex and Insay over at New Georgia Project, right? I think about like New Georgia Project organizers who themselves personally, like by themselves, registered like 30,000, 40,000 people in the city.
Wow.
Like individually.
Wow.
Right. I think about people who've done like 100 like volunteers who did 100 voter registration, filled out voter registration forms in a weekend or on a Saturday. So first, I'm not going to take anything away from the vision that Stacey had, but I'm going to elevate in this moment. I'm going to elevate the people who I might like did the work in the state of Georgia, man. That's that. We would be remiss if we celebritize Stacey, but we don't recognize that gives we got to be careful of giving people a pass and not do things for American people, right? And this is not anti-Stacey, but we got to be so. First, Stacey, congratulations. I already told you that. Second, when we celebritize people, when we turn moments into celebrity, that's how we tend to not pass policy for the people who actually did the work. Stacey by herself didn't go and register 400,000, 500,000, 600,000 people in the state of Georgia to win.
That's it.
That she didn't, there was people with clipboards and purple shirts, clipboards and black shirts, clipboards and yellow shirts, clipboards and tough conversations, walking through neighborhoods, walking through club parking lots, walking through churches, walking through, all over the state of Georgia, all over America to really flip this country flip this state and this country from red to blue.
Right.
And, I just gotta make sure that we don't ignore those people, because those people are the ones who are registering people for the betterment of their lives, not just the betterment of like one person, right? So I need people to understand this, and then I'm done. Voter registration is a movement. That was a movement, just like Black Lives Matter is a movement, and it takes lots and lots and lots of people who do the work when the cameras ain't around. Y'all weren't thinking about Georgia in October of 2017. Y'all weren't thinking about Georgia people weren't thinking about Georgia in, February of 2019. Right? The times where the cameras ain't on and people are out registering voters, those are the times that matter. And that's just what I want to put out there.
That's it.
So
let me say a couple
I
things.
definitely.
Let me say a couple of things, Rebecca.
Go ahead, Mondale.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I can hold my point.
No. Go ahead. No, because I know that the way I'll end it to go into the next story. So go ahead.
Okay. I also just want to say like this nomination for voter registration seems a little weird and outdated. I mean, the voter registration shows that these people are disconnected from Black folk, or they read about us, and then because some white person said you should celebritize this person or you should follow this person for something they did, or like this makes no sense. You nominated Stacey Abrams for a Nobel Peace Prize for voter registration, but not for her voter protection work. Makes no sense, and is also a few cycles removed. I mean, the big voter registration push happened years back, and there's been so much different work. Voter registration was not even, they did a little bit of voter registration at Fair Fight this cycle, but it's not what I mean, if you're nominating people for voter registration, they didn't come close to the organization that registered the most people. And it just seemed like it was outdated, and it shows how disconnected people are from Black people in their work. Furthermore, I think, you know, it's voter registration. It's not voter engagement. It's not voter turnout. It just shows a disconnect. And then furthermore, like if you saw the clip that they showed about her, I think, and this is a conversation I was kind of having in text message. Somebody created a bunch of avatars for internet folk, and it's like the new left, and I'm like, who are these people? Like, how did people get labeled left, the new left? And I mean, like, there's tons of us who spent 20 years in the trenches doing nothing but working and fighting for progressive candidates and policies. And I didn't see a majority of those folk I saw weren't those people. And it's scary that we label people certain things. So on that picture, on that clip we just saw, it had Stacey, the activist that turned Georgia blue. Stacey Abrams has never been an activist. And we throwing around these titles like they don't really mean something. You can't be a politician and an activist. Stacey Abrams has been an elected official since she came into public life. She is not an activist, and it's not okay for us to use those terms as they are interchangeable. An activist is not even an advocate. An activist is not even an advocate, let alone an elected official. There are some activists that become elected, but once you become an elected official, you are an elected official. Stacey Abrams' path to Georgia, to where she is now, is not an activist path. And I think that is super important, because what we do is we minimize a lot of people that are activists, and also we minimize her true path, how she got to where she is.
Right.
So let me say this. I hear what you guys are saying, and I totally agree with it, but I don't think she has control on how, because media does that anyway. I don't think she has control on how media is going to label her. She was introduced to I know a lot of people have been doing the work, and that's why when these conversations come up, we use our platforms to shine the light on the people that have been doing the work. But how media is structured and how they go with the highlights narratives. And with the narratives, but they go with the person that they've been hearing about the most. That's how it works. But that's why we have these platforms, so that we can definitely highlight the other groups and the other people that have been on the ground running. A lot of times, some of these people who have been doing the work are not online or doing whatever. Sometimes a lot of people are inspired by the originals that have been doing the work, and just are more showy with it, right? So it's like different things may go into this. Now, I will say I was introduced to Stacey Abrams from me first moving here and her wanting to run for governor and all of that. So I think here it shows more of the storyline here is just what she went through, how we saw her fail or lose that race. And we knew that, there was so much more to that story. And then, hearing her story of being
Only because there's so many people who listen. They need to know that you did the air quotes there, right? You did the air quotes on failed because
yes, I did the air quotes on failed. The air quotes on failed. But she still kept going. So that's kind of the storyline I think that we see when we're like, okay, we do see that she's nominated, and like you said, for a weird reason, for voter registration, like what's that? But the conversation is she's done so much, but because of other people that pushed her too, those people that were on the ground doing the work, that were assisting her and pushing her. So when she has the platform, she definitely names those people and said this wasn't something that she did alone. So when the media companies are putting her here and saying this is why that she's done it, when she has the mic, when she has the floor, she explains what the work really is, and she explains that she didn't get there alone. There were other people before her. And I know that with this new leftist group, they're adding people, even for me, who has gotten into politics maybe for been in here maybe 5 years now. But I've done work. And for me, my focal point is with Black women and Haitians. So that's my focal point. Now, I may not have done the work in the ways that you guys have, but not to dismiss you guys' work, but because of you guys, we are. So we always take that opportunity to go ahead, Ben.
Oh, no, I wanted you to finish. I was just raising my hand.
Oh, so we always take the opportunities when we can to lift each other in these moments, because of course the media is going to try to make it about one person, and that's going to be the most popular person. And I don't think it's to diminish other people's work, but some people don't even care about getting the recognition. It's just, they really about moving somebody forward and getting the work done and all of that. So I think it's for us to use our platforms if need be. So we got our own little nomination over here for everybody who's been doing it. Everyone who's been on the ground, hit the ground running, been at the doors, registering, making the calls. For every single person, this award is for you. Our little morning trap award.
Oh, no, I like that. I like that because, to be honest with you, like, I think I don't, Marcus, you put it best. You said, number one, you already personally congratulated Stacey Abrams, but you also know that the organizing and the organizers, did the work. So I don't think she would have a problem if we did this. Can we shout out? Go ahead.
Ben, people like to cap too much. I'm so sick of that. People want to cap. People want to make up stuff. Like folks that look at this segment and say, "Oh, they hating on Stacey." Nah, it's just that we like.
No, you guys aren't hating on Stacey.
Yeah. There's some people who know like a different aspect of it and go 2 or 3 levels deeper than what you see on the surface, right? Just because MSNBC said Marcus Farrell left Stacey Abrams, or Marcus Farrell did X, Y, and Z, or Mondale Robinson did X, Y, and Z. If you ask the people around him, was like, he did X, Y, and Z. He took that bullet because somebody was shooting, but y'all forgot to talk about the shooter. Like, go deeper, right? And stop being surface level, so that, because you can't watch the morning trap, you can't watch clickbaity political thirst trap being on some surface level. Oh, well, I heard that they said this, that, and the other about this, and then whatever headline is what you run with. There's a story behind the story, right? There's a story about organizers that came together in 2015. There's a story about the people who came together when they saw exactly how many people purged, black people were purged in the state of Georgia. Right. And the number that they needed to register to actually get to that, to actually get to a place where we could compete for an election again. It was a mathematics game. The people who did the mathematics didn't get a Nobel Peace Prize. The people who did the math on it and the people who did the work on it didn't get invited to the DNC. The people who did the math on it and the people who did do the work on it didn't get a spot on MSNBC, CNN. Like, these are normal black people that y'all don't see, but some of y'all are so surface level and shallow. It's like, you're hating if you go any deeper than what we think.
No, but you have your own opinions. You guys have your own opinions.
These are not, but these, we all do have our own opinions, but these are not opinions though. This is the problem with history. This is why we as a people are stuck in this space, because we celebrate the wrong thing. And I think that's what Marcus is talking about. Like, the idea that we would celebrate voter registration over voter protection was my point. Stacey Abrams has probably the largest voter protection organization, or one of them in the nation, and they do voter protection. So if you're giving out Nobel Peace Prizes, why not give it out to something that could save democracy or stop a steal of an election, like the one that happened to her in 2018? Voter registration don't mean anything if you consider that majority of the people that you register won't vote. Barack Obama registered millions of people. Most of them stayed home. Why is that a voter registration? Why is that a nomination when this woman is protecting the right for people to go access the ballot? That is democracy saving. That is Nobel Peace Prize worthy. And I think in that space, I'm also saying, when you celebrate the wrong people, history marks the wrong thing down as what saved a certain folk, and that is dangerous. I believe. I think we've done this so long.
Rebecca, how are we on? Because I want.
No, we can continue. No, we can actually. I can wait. No, we can actually continue on this, because and I want to be clear. When it's so many, you're right. This happens so many times. This does happen so many times. But again, that's why we have these platforms. I believe that if she wasn't even nominated, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. So I think that it's important. So I definitely want to celebrate her. Now, for the reason voter registration, like, of course, we can definitely expand on that. It is a weird region. But like you said, voter protection, bringing that up right there for the people who are watching is definitely like, yeah, you're right. That's a reason that we should be celebrating her. So when we do get online, we can definitely change the narrative when we're celebrating her or however. There's always going to be a story that is put out in mainstream media that is wrong. But that's why we have these platforms to correct it and, celebrate her for the right reasons. So I definitely want to continue.
If it was up to mainstream media, black men wouldn't exist.
And that's why I thank God that we are creating our own space and, making sure that we're protecting black men and black women. What were you going to say, Ben?
Is this an example of whoever nominated her? Because I know the nomination process. Literally anybody. If you're like a professor at a school, or if you're part of any parliament, member of House of Parliament across the world, you are in a position to do the nomination. So I don't know who nominated her. And Rebecca, I don't know if you read that in this morning in the breakdown. But
it was one of the guys. It was one of the elected officials from Norwegian or Norway.
Okay, setting that aside, then I feel like this might just be another example of white folks trying to award black people for something, but not really understanding or caring to understand exactly what should be celebrated versus what they're telling us we should celebrate. Right.
Exactly what I said. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because you're right, Mundell. Like there's really no reason that they could not have taken a second to find out the precise reason that she should have been nominated. Or, I mean, I know this is like lofty and philosophical, but I mean, maybe we should be celebrating the concepts, right? And not the individual. And that's why I like the concept of Black Lives Matter winning, not so much the individuals or whatever they side. Like if the individuals, like we know Alicia Garza, we know, they're good people. So this is not to take anything from them, but it's also like the concept of democratized leadership that I think needs to be celebrated in this moment as well. And I think Black Lives Matter, the leadership over there, the different organizations, I think anybody that you talk to in this moment will say the most important thing that we can and probably should celebrate is the fact that we have a moment of democratized leadership. There's no one leader from any community, let alone the black community.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think, Ben, I think you're spot on. I think though, so we just got to be honest, man. Like the Nobel Peace Prize is white as hell, just like the Oscars. And like we are like when we celebrate, it's the same thing. When I see people get giddy and happy that, oh, this is my son, he went to Harvard, and I'm like, so it's a slave institution, and I fired plenty of people from Harvard. I don't care. Like that is not the pinnacle for me. Harvard is not the pinnacle for me. The Nobel Peace Prize is not the pinnacle for me. Like, I think the problem is we're tied to these white institutions, even when we say we care about liberation or it's our goal. I don't care that some of my favorite musicians never won Oscars. You can't tell me they're not better than these white people that won tons of Oscars. You can't, I don't care that my black freedom fighters never win Nobel Peace Prize. You can't tell me they're not better than Gandhi, who used the N-word regularly, referring to black South Africans. He was one of the racist people in the world, yet the world celebrates him for being this wonderful peacemaker. So it tells you that, like, when you celebrate, when you orient yourself to whiteness, it's probably at the expense of your own people. And I don't really, I don't jive. I ain't trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm Optimist Susie. I just don't have time for whiteness. Yeah, I don't have time.
He is optimistic.
But yeah, so no,
he's an optimistic dude.
And like I said, and I may be the only one that may view it that way in how I'm viewing it. But like I said, for me, whether it's Harvard, FAMU, which is the #1 HBCU in the nation, always the better option. But whether it's any of that, I want to make sure that we are celebrating Black people, Black women, Black men, and when we can, grab that narrative, grab that story when they are highlighted, and help people understand the true story, help educate them like we did today. So no matter what, if my son got into Harvard, of course I would encourage him to go into FAMU. But if my son got into Harvard, I'll be walking around here telling people, my son got into Harvard, or whatever, as a Black man who could, that is just and I know you're not being a Debbie Downer, and I see your point of view, and I respect it 100%, but definitely we're going to make sure
I got one thing to say about Harvard. When you have an institution that has legacy anything, I got a problem with it.
Okay.
Right? When you can write a $200,000 check, or you can pay a coach to get your daughter on the soccer team when she can't even dribble a soccer ball down the field.
Or build a building in your granddaddy's name.
Yeah, or build a building, and like that doesn't warrant special favoritism for me, right? I used to think like that, right? And there is a system to get jobs, recognition. There is a system to get placed into a certain world by going to Harvard, Yale, Ivy League schools. That's a real thing. That's a real thing.
US schools rating is based on that.
But that whole system is not the system that's going to deliver us from freedom. These people place folks in position to keep black folks where they are right now. You want to talk to me about Yale? Has Yale done more for black people or less for black people? Please talk to me about Yale graduates. Please talk to me about Harvard graduates. Right? Yes, your son got into Yale. Clap on to you. Are you talking to your classmates in Skull and Bone about how they shouldn't keep up a system of oppression so they can stay rich and black folks? I got a fundamental issue with the elevation of Ivy League schools as, you know, what's more liberating? Yeah, you know what's more liberating? Stacey starting an organization to protect voters. You know what's more liberating? You know what I like more than a Harvard graduate? A organizer who just registered 30,000 people.
Come on.
That's real.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And on that note, which I absolutely love, on that note, you know, shout out to Stacey Abrams and everybody who's been doing the work.